Hello there, homesteaders, and everyone else who's coming along on the journey here at the Rustic Hills Homestead. I'm about to go and just do a bunch of miscellaneous things this morning, and I thought I'd take you along with me. A bunch of new stuff happening here on the homestead, and we're in the throes of winter, which makes everything more difficult. We're just coming out of almost a week of negative 20-degree temperatures and pretty heavy winds. And that's caused a little bit of havoc here on the homestead, so that's part of what I'm going to deal with today. I look forward to you coming along, and I'm going to show you some of the things we deal with here in northeast Wyoming after a pretty significant cold snap. Here I go. So one of the first things you'll notice is that I got the big farm truck up here, and there's a big tank in the back of it. Why is there a tank in the back of the farm truck? Well, I keep that tank around kind of as a plan C for water. We have a hydrant down by the barn. Let's see if we can see it from here. Not so much. I got another little cart in front of it. But that hydrant down by the barn is our primary source of water for the animals. And after this cold snap where the wind chill was negative 50, it froze up pretty darn good, and now I need to get more water to the animals. We've been using this tank for the last couple of days and filling it up over by the house at the spigot in the apple orchard, and taking it down and then putting the water into the different animal troughs. So I took this out of the bucket down by the barn this morning, and I noticed there was a whole bunch of ice in it, but it looks like that's cleared out now. Now, I had traditionally been using what most people would consider normal hose for a lot of different things on the farm. And recently I saw someone else on YouTube was using, especially for the winter, this sort of stretchy hose. And what I've come to find out is that's actually a great idea. You know, I had coiled up the hose and got all the water out of it every time when I used it in the winter, so that the next time I'd go to use it, it wouldn't be frozen up. And this is a great tip that I caught on to. Otis is behind me. Say hi, Otis. So great tip I caught on to, because you can just use it, get most of the water out of it, throw it in a bucket, and then bring it in just inside the house. As long as you bring it in inside the house, it works great. It's when you leave it out and it freezes in the metal fitting, it doesn't work so great. But this has been a bit of a game changer this winter. It's still pretty chilly out. This morning, the low last night was 19, and this morning it was in the 20s most of the time. It's just kind of getting up into the mid to higher 30s. We're supposed to have a high of 40 today, but I don't think that's actually going to happen up here in the Rustic Hills. Maybe down in town. There we go. All right, let's see if we can get some water flowing. Let's turn the water on and see what happens. Well, it's promising. I am afraid there's still too much ice in here to let the water through. So we're going to have to turn to plan B for plan C. Like I said, this is normally our plan C for when water isn't flowing down there at the barn. You might ask, what is plan B? Well, plan B is there's a big stock tank in the horses area, and they also have some troughs for water inside. They generally here lately have been drinking from the water troughs inside the barn, which are much easier to keep open. So I try and keep the one in the outside run full, and that way even if it freezes I can plug in a heater and that'll melt the ice, and I can use 5-gallon buckets to kind of spread that around as I need to. But we've run out of that now, and like I said, the last couple days we've had to rely on this tank that I have in the back of the truck and fill that up. So now plan B for plan C is to take that hose in the bucket, put it inside next to the heater, and hope it thaws out. All right, so now that stretchy hose is gathered up into a bucket and sitting next to the heater inside, and hopefully it will thaw out enough where we can fill up our big container. In the meantime, pretty much the only ones that didn't have enough water are the chickens. So you get to watch me fill this water from just this tap. Plan B day. So here we are back at plan B for plan B for plan C. I guess we call that plan M. I'm just going to rinse this funnel out. There's nothing too terrible in there, but it's been sitting for a while. And I'm going to have to move you because I'm going to use the bucket I got you sitting on. Take that down, and then I'm going to open up that hydrant one more time since we did get over freezing again today, and hope it starts running. That would be the most ideal thing. We'll just have to see. All right. Yeah, that'll be enough. Thankfully, it's Friday, and I'm off for the weekend, so I can kind of bird dog a lot of these things. For those of you who don't know, I have a few different jobs. Unfortunately, farming is not my only job, as much as I wish it was. So, during the week, my ranch hand does a lot of the chores for me, which I greatly appreciate. So I appreciate that he helps me out during the week. But it kind of leaves me at a disadvantage where there's a lot of things I don't have eyes on, especially here in the winter, because I go to work in the morning, it's dark. I come home at night, it's dark. So it's really difficult to keep eyes on what's going on. There are a lot of people out there who think about this lifestyle and think they want to do this, and I think that's fantastic. I think a lot of people should do a little bit more self-sufficiency and appreciate what goes into bringing food to your family. But it is a lot of work, and I know for me, I was a city kid. I didn't necessarily know how to do a lot of this, but I tried to educate myself. I watched a lot of YouTube videos. I tried to figure out a lot of things on my own. And so this channel is really all about showing others what I figured out and what worked for me. And I suspect that people interested in watching are going to take some of what I do and some of what they find from other people and some of what they want to figure out on their own and customize, and that's what works. And then there's the people that still live in the city and enjoy watching what's going on and think about maybe doing this someday. And for those people, I hope to kind of show what you can expect if you get into this life. It's great, I love it. Wouldn't trade it for anything, but nobody ever said it was going to be easy, and it's not. Especially not in the winter in northeast Wyoming. Who wants water? There it is. I found at a local store these extension cords that have a plug every, I don't know, 6 feet, 7 feet, 8 feet, something like that. So I can plug in here inside the chicken coop and run one of those, and it runs this water heater, it runs the water heater for the cows, and it runs the heat lamp for the brooder, so that if we start brooding meat chickens in the early spring when it's still pretty cold around here, they'll have plenty of heat in that brooder box. So you see our cows. This is Cold Front. He's a fairly new addition to the farm. I don't think I did a video on him yet. And he's doing his job because Betsy, the youngest over there on the left by the feeder, is pregnant. Lulu, the one next to her in the far back, we think might be pregnant, but it's too early to tell for sure. We just took him to be preg checked this week. And then Soji over here, she's both of their mamas. She's open, unfortunately. She's our oldest cow, and she's blind now in both eyes. So Cold Front does a wonderful job leading her around the property when they're out. But she is going to be going to freezer camp here in the next 2 months, because I just feel like her quality of life is significantly diminished now that she can't really see anymore. She struggles to get around and to find everything. You know, like I said, Cold Front's been doing a great job of making sure she's fairly safe, but it's not ideal to have a blind cow on 40 acres, especially with some of the other things we've got going on that I'll show you. So you might have seen the video where I made the turkey house. Well, the turkeys are gone for the winter, and what I decided to do was make it a pig house. So you see our pigs. They're doing great. Watering pigs in the winter is a heck of a thing to do. The water in the tank, I have a heater in there, and it stays thawed out. Unfortunately, in those little troughs, there's one on this side, one on the other side, it freezes up. So I'm working on trying to figure out if I can use this at all during the winter, or if I'm going to have to figure something else out. There's the inside. Piggies. And then I made the boys a little bachelor pad nearby so that they wouldn't feel lonely. So, oh, look, it's Plan B. That's actually his name, Plan B. He's going to be my breeding boar, probably soon. You want to bust up that ice, buddy? I'm gonna bust up your ice. There, get a drink. Because Sausage is now the oldest pig on the farm. You can see him in there. He's huge and awesome, and he's been doing a great job, but I think he's getting to the end of his breeding cycle. So pretty soon I think Plan B is going to be taking over here. Plan B is a good looking little boar. He is definitely one handsome guy. So they're over here living in the little bachelor pad, and you see these 55-gallon drums. Those are full of pig feed. That's another project that at least 1 ton gravity bin for grain. Probably I'll make 2 of them, one for the pig feed and one for chicken feed, because chicken feed by the bag is just getting to be too expensive, and with the number of chickens we've gone up to, they're going through a 50-pound bag every 2 to 3 days, and I just can't sustain that. Not to mention it's just really not convenient to store the way we've been doing it. So I'm going to try and make those. So I'm going over here to the hydrant. As a matter of fact, why don't we go on the inside of the horse pen, make it a little easier on ourselves. It is a muddy mess down here with all the dirt and ice and poop. Okay, so you see the hydrant. The handle was completely frozen until here recently. Oh, I hear something. I hear something. Yeah. So, plan A, the hydrant is finally working again, as long as it doesn't get into the negative degrees and everything freezes. Now, let's talk about why I think it froze this time. Oh, that's plan B, by the way. So you can see I melted all the ice out of the center of it. And that was about as much as I could melt with my stock tank heater. By the way, if anyone has a good brand of stock tank heater that's worked really well for them and has been durable, please let me know in the comments. I'm going to be very honest and say that the ones that I have, and I won't call them up by name, but they are junk. I was just telling my wife, we've gone through about $250 worth of stock tank heaters that are now in the garbage in, I don't know, maybe 2 years. And that's a lot, you know. So they just don't work. They don't hold up. Sorry, I said we were going to talk about why I think that froze up. I just want to fill up the pigs real quick. Alrighty. Alrighty, I hear you. I hear you. Wait. I'll get another one if you guys wait. They're probably gonna flip it. Oh. Most of the time they flip it. All right, everybody get a drink. I've tried using this type, but every day I come down, I find it torn off the fence and in the middle of the pen. It's just a matter of time before they break it. At least with the rubber ones, they can't break them. They move them, they can't break them. I had an idea recently for something different. Well, actually for something to keep them from moving, the rubber ones. Hydrant first froze up. I came down here and I put that electric heat gun on there for at least half an hour, about 3 times, and got nowhere. Now recently, I was doing some work to put my father's hermitage down here, which is where he wants it. And if I show you, so I started a pad, I put in septic, and then here I dug, you'll see, to get to the water line that comes down from the house to the barn. And I trenched out so that we would be able to lay water line and eventually electrical, because that post right there is a power lateral, so that he'd have everything he needs. He'll have water, he'll have electric, and he'll have sewer. So I think what happened when we hit that cold snap is down here where the water line is, now that it's got all the dirt moved off of it and I couldn't get a plumber out here in time before winter, the water line froze. We had a plumber that was going to come out, and that's why I borrowed a Mini X and I got this work done. And then he canceled on me at the last minute, and then we couldn't find anyone to come out and do it. So it was kind of frustrating. Let's check on the goats and make sure they have enough water. Hello! So we have Jane Doe, and we have Cookie Doe. Cookie, yes. Cookie's very sweet. Their water is about half full. I can bring some down. And we have Cappuccino. Unfortunately, Cappy broke her leg just before this cold snap. I was putting hay on here in a hay net because the manger had gotten old and broken. And one night, Cappy got her hoof caught in the hay net and must have twisted around a couple of times and just mangled the heck out of that front leg. I struggled with what to do. She's a good goat, but she seems to actually be getting around on 3 legs. I don't think we'll be breeding her, which is unfortunate because, again, she is a good goat, good stock. They're all registered La Mancha goats. But I think we're just going to try and keep her as comfortable as we can. And like I said, she seems to be doing pretty well, all things considered. Yes. We'll keep her comfortable and we'll let her live with her sisters. And just take it from there. Do our best, right, Cappy? All right. And they've been keeping warm in their little goat hut. I've been buying the smaller bales of alfalfa for them and giving them a couple flakes a day, actually 3, 1 for each goat, and then I'll give you a spare. Hey, you gotta get down. I got one hand on the camera. There's only so much I can do. Get in there, Cappy. You tell her who's boss. Good girl. All right. So, manger fixed. So I think that's going to be the next thing I do, is maybe bring the tractor down here and hook up some chains and bring these side pieces up to the garage and see if I can't weld those back together in some fashion with a bracket and then bolt them down to this wooden frame so that we can go back to feeding a little bit more than a few flakes a day, huh? You're used to having all you want. Well, so we topped everybody's water off and mucked out the stalls. I didn't take you long for that because really, who wants to see that? Not to mention, it's a 2-hand job and it's just kind of difficult to carry a camera going through all that. But now, I'm gonna go up and get the tractor and bring it down and take up those pieces of the hay manger for the goats so that hopefully I can get them welded up. I got a buddy who's gonna come by on Monday and he's a welder, so I think I might kind of hold off till he gets here just because I know it'll get done right. I have a little welder and very little experience welding, and I could probably fudge something up, but I think it'd be best to get it done right, especially since I already have one injured goat. That hill takes it out of you, especially in the winter. Whew. Almost wiped out again. Haven't been getting very much sun. There's a little blue sky off of there, but we've been kind of socked in even since that cold spell under a lot of cloud cover. and just nothing wants to really melt. Bit, so we're not dealing with so much rust. And looks like she needs some gas, huh? So for the tractor, I use dyed diesel. A little cheaper, especially nowadays with diesel being what it is. You can't use it on the roads, you get fine. But for farm equipment, that's what it's for. I put anti-gelling agent in it so that in these cold temperatures the diesel doesn't gel up, because that'll really mess your motor up. Alright, so tractor's warming up. Give her a little throttle. Head down and grab the bucket. Oh, you know what? I want to grab some chains because I don't think we're going to be able to fit those in the bucket. I'll probably have to drag them behind. There we go. All right, and we're off. Red tractor. So that spot right there where you see the dirt piled up is where I am going to set the high tunnel this spring. That'll be for growing vegetables. We'll extend our season because here in northeast Wyoming it's a pretty short growing season. Alright, let's get this bucket loaded up here. Good. I like these quick hitches. Good. Now, that might be fairly new. I don't think I've had this before on video. A little project I was working on again at kind of the tail end of the fall. And, oh, my cat's in there. So I was working on it in the fall and I haven't quite finished. It's a hay shed. We had a pretty nasty windstorm that took one of the panels off and crimped a couple others. I have some replacements over there, but so the hay shed, I'm going to use pallets to side the three sides, and then I have some billboard canvas I bought that's going to go over that, and that will keep things dry, and then but it'll still let it breathe in the summer. So it's working pretty well for us so far. I mean, like I said, this one panel here just got ripped out by that windstorm. The cat seems to have found a home in here. Didn't want to live in the barn anymore, wanted to live in the hay shed. I guess wherever the mice are, that's where the cat ought to be. And the pigs used to be in that pen over there, and I just decided with winter, especially with all the carton water and whatnot to the pigs, it would be easier to put them down where I had a hydrant that until recently worked fairly well. We had tried to put a sandpoint well in, and for those of you who don't know what a sandpoint well is, I'll try and put a picture of the bottom part of it, but it's like a kind of like a pointy muffler at the bottom with a bunch of holes in it, and those holes have a screen inside of them, and you pound it down into the ground, attached to pipe, sort of like drilling a well. And then at the top, you have a pump, because I have water coming up out of the ground, and it's been here for a long time. But unfortunately, I tried to drop the sandpoint well far enough below the frost line so it wouldn't freeze, because my gut told me that it needed to go that far, and apparently I went too far, because I'm not getting any water out of the pump. You know, I primed it and everything, and nothing. And I put it down so far, I can't even get it back out with the tractor. So this spring, I'm going to take the auger and I'm going to go right next to it and see what I get. I'll at least be able to get it out. Hopefully I'll be able to see where the water's coming from, and then I can redirect the sandpoint well and hopefully get it to work. Sorry, my nose is a little runny out here in the cold. Alright, let's go for a ride down to the barn. Like an ice skating rink. It started to thaw out in the last couple days because we hit a few 40-degree temperature days, but it's pretty much refroze. Certainly not very full. The round pen's up there. I took down most of the arena. I just built a little pen in there for the winter. In the spring I'll put the arena back up. Despite the channel being called the Rustic Hills Homestead, there's a few things I'd like to make a little rustic, but not quite so rustic. So those are the projects that I'll be showing on the channel as we go forward. Well, let me see if Cindy wants me to get in here and do something. So while I'm down here with the tractor, try and get some of this mess cleaned out of the horse pen. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to set you up on my little tool wagon, and hopefully you can see what I'm up to, and you can laugh at how silly I am for even attempting this. So we got some of the poop out of there, and I tried to scuff up the ice as best as I could so that the horses won't slip. And I grabbed these up from the goat pen. These were the sides of the manger before the bottom pretty much rusted out. So I'm going to drag these up to the garage, and hopefully on Monday my buddy can help me get that squared away. See if we can drag this up without destroying it. So far, so good. Alright, so we got the tractor back in the garage, and it unhooked itself right in the perfect spot. And since we got our hydrant going, we can put the truck with the tank back over here. Hopefully these other hoses have thawed out. Not today, tomorrow. It's going to be, I think, sunnier tomorrow, so I'll let them sit.